with attorney Carol Ponton, coming to you live from Hill and Ponton on another Veterans Q&A session. We are excited to be here and excited to be back. I have been gone for the last several weeks on some trips, one of which was our NOVA trip that Carol and I are going to talk about as far as learning more from the VA about what's going on. But first, let's just jump into some questions, and then Carol has some more stuff to talk about when it comes to VA exams, but we'll wait till there's more folks on that. So let's jump in, get our first question. Michael, do any of your clients have success when filing claims for chronic fatigue syndrome? It's a Gulf War presumption, so I'm thinking about filing. I have a diagnosis. That should be an automatic grant. If you were in the Gulf, you have chronic fatigue, that's all you need, okay? It
but
becomes a little
treatment, yeah, you really need to make sure you have treatment that gives you a current diagnosis of chronic fatigue. That's where I'm seeing a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
They go in and complain about being fatigued, but they're not diagnosed with chronic fatigue.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you don't have the diagnosis, then what the VA can do is try to say, oh, you're not diagnosed with this disability, and therefore they won't give it to you. Right, Carol?
Right.
In that event, though, see, this is the problem. You guys ask us tight, short questions, but we always have these expansive answers. If they come back and say, hey, you don't have chronic fatigue, you've got these touch points, it looks like you have this problem, guess what? That's Gulf War syndrome, and you still get service connected. It's heads you win, tails they lose in this, okay? You want to have the diagnosis because that just makes it easier, but if you don't stop fighting, okay? Because if you don't have a diagnosis yet they concede in their CMP exam that you do have problems, you know, there is some kind of disability affecting you systematically, then you need to fight and say, well, that's Gulf War syndrome if it's not just chronic fatigue syndrome.
But as Matt says, it just makes it harder because they don't recognize it. You're going to have to go up to someone who finally does recognize what the law encompasses. So if you have a diagnosis of chronic fatigue, it sure makes it easier. Yeah.
Okay, let's Joseph. Hello, received a letter from VA for favorable findings. VA failed duty to assist. Now I have a second CMP exam. Is that normal? Yes. Probably means the first one was, just didn't do what it was supposed to, and they're sending you back, hopefully to clarify some small part or big part. James, how do I get more from the VA on a rating for leaky urine and wearing briefs after prostate treatment? Carol, you see this all the time.
I do. Okay, so the VA looks at a number of things. They look at how many times you get up at night, how often do you have to go to the bathroom during the day. So if it's less than an hour a day, every less than an hour, then that's a 60% rating. If you wear pads and they have to be changed at least 4 times a day, that's a higher rating. If you're totally incontinent, that's something even more so. So what you need to do is clarify the record. You need to put in a statement about exactly where you fit in that rating. And if these pads are free from the VA. So you ask the VA to send you pads and tell them how many you need to use a day. Is it more than 4? So that's how you prove your case.
And Carol, what we see is so frustrating is in cancer cases, and we see this a lot in prostate cancer, is when you have the cancer, when you're treating for it, and you have radiculopathy, you're getting.
You can get neuropathy. You can get pain.
No. I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, if you're treating for it and you're going through chemo, let's say,
right, or radiation.
Radiation. That was what I was trying to say. If you're going through either of those, you're 100%. Boom. But once you stop, your prostate goes down to 0. Okay, and that makes no sense because as you're seeing here, James, you can have all these secondary problems. So what Carol and I see a lot are veterans who get dropped to 0, yet there is no way in the world they could work due to their incontinence and due to their problems and due to secondary depression. And so you just need to take stock of all those issues, depression as well, and file and see what you get. If you get over 60% and you're not working, I mean, let's face it, if you're having to use multiple pads a day, there's probably a big chance you're having accidents. You need to file for unemployability if you can't stay in the workforce.
Right, but if you have cancer, you need to start setting your case up because, as Matt says, as soon as the treatment, chemo, radiation, as soon as it's in remission, you're going to be 0 unless you have proven to them that you have ongoing problems. So everybody has depression from this. As soon as you get cancer, file for service connection for the depression. So that's ongoing. But then you need to document, I'm having leakage, I have to go to the bathroom all the time. I'm every 30 minutes. I'm up all night long. I have neuropathy in my hands because of the radiation or the chemo. You need to be proactive on this because they will drop you to zero immediately. They're supposed to reevaluate you. They do not. What they do is they see the day treatment stop and then they drop you. So this happens to everybody, and you need to know and you need to be proactive.
And one more note on the depression. Most people think of depression as just like this overwhelming sadness or sitting there all day. What Carol and I are talking about is you had an identity, right? Who you were, you worked, what you could do at home. Once you have cancer, that just can destroy or at least completely alter your identity. And going through that change is not a positive change.
Right.
That leads to things like doubting yourself, wondering why you can't hang out with your family more, wondering why you can't do the job you used to. That's what we see. And so when we say this, we're not just saying off our cuff, just go file depression. We're saying this is what you're going through, whether you realize
this is real.
Yeah.
Okay, erectile dysfunction. That's another thing. If you've got bladder, prostate, you probably have erectile dysfunction. Loss of female arousal. If there's some kind of gynecological cancer. So if you have any of those things, you need to tell the VA because they're not going to do that for you.
All right. Let's go again here. We got, good morning, Brian. At the end of December 22, I was awarded service connection for 5 claims that I was denied back in 2013 by BVA judge. Is there a follow-on? What is the process after a judge makes a decision? Will I have another CMP or will they use my past exams? It's May and no new notice or info from the VA.
When was that decision? January?
It was in December last year.
And I wonder, was it a BVA? It didn't say whether it was a BVA or
It did. It said it was a BVA grant service connection.
All right. This is something I'm having a problem with. My clients are having a problem with. The BVA will grant benefits and it goes right through. And then all of a sudden I'll have a veteran where the BVA grants and it's like the case gets thrown into the trash can. I send emails, I do everything I can, and it's like it's in this black hole. And we have heard that this is a backdoor way for the VA to ask the BVA, did you really mean it? Are you really giving these people? I don't know what's going on, but I have had a number of veterans who have this problem. I cannot get any action. So what I tell my clients to do is you call your congressman, you call your senator, and you keep on them. I filed this claim all this time ago. I've been given this benefits. What's going on? Because it sounds like you are caught in that trap. Otherwise, here's the latest thing. What they should do is they should send you out for a CMP exam. But what they do is they look all the way back and see what's the lowest rating they can give you. They give you that, and then they say they're going to send you out to see what you currently are. So if you haven't gotten that, especially in this time, you're in that black hole, and you need to call your congressman, your senator, and have them complain for you.
I can't say any better than that, Carol.
Am I using my team building voice, or am I a little harsh here? I'm a little irritated about how they treat veterans.
Randy, who invented VA math? I don't know, but I bet you they put that guy in hiding because the most frustrating thing I've ever. Anyway.
What I didn't realize right away is they don't say, they say combine, but it's in the VA. It's not like add. They don't use the word add. They combine. And combining is they take whatever percentage of the body you have, 40%, and they say, okay, that's gone. You don't have any more. You only have 60% of your body left. So the next time you get a rating, if it's 10%, it's 10% of 60%. So it's 6. And so on. And that's why it's so hard to get higher and higher ratings. But you're right. It's crazy.
All right, John Johnson, can enrolling in the VA's Psychosocial Rehabilitation and Recovery Center program help or hurt my mental health for TDIU claim? Well, first of all, let's talk about 2 different things. 1, your health, and 2, your benefits, okay? If you need this for your health, you need this for your health, and you need to go, okay? If when I look at benefits-wise, I don't see how this hurts you. If you go and you get completely better, you don't want to be on TDIU. You want to go back in the world. You want to reassimilate. TDIU is basically kind of the, it's what you need. It's the last bastion of benefits if you cannot work. But I think if you go in that program, it's kind of an honest assessment showing how you are. And hopefully it's a program where they document everything that's going on. You need to be honest. You need to say what's going on. If you're having suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, if you can't be around people, if you hate listening to authority, you need to lay all that out there and let them know this is what's going on. And hopefully that gets documented. If that's documented in their own PRRC program, that's pretty hard for them to ignore. It's not like they can say, oh, this is your treating doctor, he's just trying to be nice to you. No, you went into serious recovery. And so I think you should, your health's the most important. And if they're saying you need to do it, I think you need to do it for your health. But for your benefits, I don't really see a downside.
I agree. Go for it.
Modern intelligence, EOD Tech with VA and DoD approved evidence of chemical warfare agent in Afghanistan. Believe it will help other vets. May I speak to Mr. Carey, Ms. Ponton, or Mr. Hill? Let's see. If you, how do I get you to reach out to us? I know that Carey Baker would love to know this because he is just so great with chemical agents and understanding how they affect people. And if you look on our, website, you can see how many different places we have that we've kind of marked for chemical exposure. I don't know do this for me. Go to our info. If you just go to our general email and put for Matt Hill and Carey Baker chem exposure, then I will know if you put that in that subject line that they'll route it to me and I'll get it to him. Okay. I just can't remember his email off the top of my head.
I can't either. Sorry.
So anyway, but that's great. Thank you so much for that. It's that time. It's good to see you. It's been a while. For a rating of disabilities, 40%, requiring insulin and restricted diet and regulation of activities, please define regulation of activities acceptable for increase to 40%. Carol, you go first on this one.
I don't know what it is anymore. And the Diabetes Association doesn't know what it is according to the VA, because no matter what we put down, they keep denying it. I don't know what they're doing. Everybody who has diabetes that requires a lot of insulin and diabetic diet has to regulate their activities. But the VA, for some reason, I don't know what they're doing. You'll see they'll grant the grant, and then all of a sudden no one gets 40%. That's what we're seeing lately. And we have no idea how they've changed the rules, because it's their rules and they don't tell us what their rules are.
I mean, the first thing to do is go to your doctor and say, you got me on insulin. My diet's being restricted. What can I can't do, or what can I and cannot do? And then get him to write that down. What kind of issues he believes can you not run? Can you not go 8 hours without eating? I don't know. Just get him to write all that down. That's where we used to win, is have the vets treating doctor say, this is the regulation of activities that the person can do. But as Carol said, the VA decided, no, we know better than the treating diabetic doctor. So that's a frustrating one, because it's nebulous, and they've decided just to, frankly, not define it.
Right. So I would also do exactly what Matt said. I would go in and say, when I tried to jog, when I tried to work out, even when I hadn't eaten for just 2 hours, my insulin dropped. I got really lightheaded. I do these activities and they really bother me. If you're doctoring the record, that maybe there's a chance at the Court of Appeals. Just telling you, lately, I don't know what's going on, but they're denying them all. Yeah.
It's the definition, and they're in charge of it. Modern intelligence. Army NG is forcing open my VA 100% P&T 9-year-old rating via IDES process. Who do you recommend to help me in my case? So I guess
What is the IDES process?
I don't know what that is, and I also don't know what the Army NG is. Army National Guard. Okay, is forcing to open my 100% case.
Matt, they do this, I find. But once you have had 100%, especially this long, it is very hard. The burden is on the VA to show that you have gotten better in normal life, not just a one-time situation. So first I'd find out, I want all the evidence they have. Give me a copy of my file. And you want to find out, what have they done lately that makes them think that? I get my VA medical records or whatever medical records have been sent in and see, is somebody saying you're doing great? I mean, you really need to see where this is coming from. A lot of times it's just coming from the VA not wanting you to go past that 10 years, because then that's usually permanent and total. There's nothing they can do about that. But the burden is very much on the VA to show you've had a significant improvement. So I wouldn't be worried about it, but I would take those steps. Find out what evidence they're using. If you have a doctor, please have the doctor fill out a DBQ for you showing you need unemployability and why, related solely to service-connected problems.
Remember, anybody can have a good day. And if they feel they caught you on a good day, you need to let them know what the other 6 days of the week look like. Okay.
Right.
You put that forward and you just show them how you're living through your statements. You can get statements from loved ones, just showing what it looks like day to day to you. They should not be grading you on your good day. They should be grading on you on your, what you are on an average every day. Okay. Carlos Ruben Flores Sr. Good afternoon, Carol and Matt. I have a question. Could you please explain to me what is SMC-S and am I stuck here pay-wise? What do I do to qualify for home improvement due to housebound PTSD? Thank you. So it looks like he's SMC-S, Carol, for housebound.
SMC-S, VA has some very strange definitions. SMC-S is called housebound, but it also mostly means something else. It mostly means that you have 100% rating or a TDIU rating for one condition or several conditions, but you have additional conditions that add up to 60% for other service-connected things. And that gives you SMC-S. Has nothing to do with you being homebound. There is a homebound, which means you can't leave the home, but that is rarely what that means. So if you have SMC-S, the only way you get higher is from other SMCs. So you need to look at the rating schedule and see if you qualify. Most of these are pretty dire. Loss of sight, loss of vision, loss of hearing. Now they do have inability to use your loss of use of feet and hands, which doesn't mean you've lost them, but you've lost the ability to use them, like balancing on your feet or picking up things, small things with your hands. But there are a number of SMCs, and you really need to look at them because that's the only way you're going to get more money. A home improvement has to do with keeping you safe because of a service-connected problem. And I don't know, so if you have neuropathy and you can't walk, you need a ramp or things like that. But for PTSD, I'm not sure how you would qualify for any home improvement. I think you'd probably have to have a physical problem in order to qualify for that. Matt, what do you think?
Carol, I've only seen physical problems. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know what if there's something you'd want to rewire the house as far as if the person has dementia due to PTSD and, you put in a system where the door opens and there's a beep that somebody else gets. I don't know. I just don't know what that would look like, but I've only seen physical problems as well.
Right. I've never seen it just for PTSD or a mental problem.
Okay. Randomly Rusty. I got my BVA advance on the docket denied. I have a Purple Heart and it was submitted on the advance because of that. I was under the impression that was a valid reason, or is that only at the regional level? Carol?
Sometimes you have to point things out to them.
Multiple
I don't
times.
know, but I would do it again, and I would ask for reconsideration of my motion that I have been awarded a Purple Heart, and you might tell them what it's for. Attached is a copy, and could you please reconsider this for advance on the docket, because I don't know why they turned you down. But I'm just
I don't have the regulation in front of me, but I was going to say I don't have the regulation in front of me, but I've won that before.
I have too.
Purple Heart.
But I'm just telling you, sometimes I get these opinions and I don't know what, and I just ask for reconsideration, and that's what I'd do if I were you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Matthew Thomas. I'm 90% with TDIU. I'm confused about whether I should go to 100% P&T or leave well enough alone. I would leave well enough alone. Carol would want more information.
Yeah, I would, but I just, is it possible that you could get 100% for mental and then use the other ratings you have to get SMC-S? I don't really know. I don't know how long have you had the 90%. Is there a chance of losing what you have? I mean, there's so much information that I don't know the answer to here. If you're really, really young, and you just got this rating, I might be more hesitant. I mean, I really would need to know more, but I wouldn't blanketly say, no, I wouldn't go farther.
Jackie Johnson, hey there. I'm back with an update on my husband's TDIU claim. He won his claim, but instead of getting TDIU, he was awarded 100% P&T for his PTSD and 30% migraines. We are still in shock. Thank you for all the info in the videos. You and Combat Parade as possible. That is great to hear.
That is great news. Congratulations.
And he also got SMC-S. Look at that. So he makes Carol happy across the board. That's wonderful here. It's great to hear success stories, folks, because I know
congratulations.
There's so many people
and this
here.
proves you can do it.
Yes, and it proves that you can get the benefits you deserve. Thank you, Jackie. Carlos, 3 unnecessary exams. All disabilities are static. Over 55. Do I need to show up? Actually, 75 years old. Carlos, I'd want to know why they're having the exams. Did you reopen something, or did they come and say that we think you should be reduced? Usually you can't just turn down an exam, or else they can come, they have a valid legal argument to reduce you within there. Jackie, we are now applying for SSDI, but we're wondering if we should get another vocational assessment for that or wait to hear back from the office, SSA office. I'd wait to hear back. I'd make sure you submitted any evidence that you gathered, including favorable C&P exams, just to show that he can't work. Reek, I'm a Gulf War veteran covered under 1119 and 1117. I stated that as an argument, the VA did consider the benefit of the doubt rule and did not use my evidence. What are my chances of winning on HLR? We hate the benefit of the doubt rule. We're just never given it. And so what we always do is just try to overwhelm them with evidence.
Right. There is no benefit of the doubt rule. I mean, not applied to veterans. I mean, like I keep saying, if you have 5 things in your favor and they have 1 and decide to approve you, they call that the benefit of the doubt.
So he says here, Carol, the veteran, he says here that he submitted to HLR due to the VA not using his 2 nexus letters or spouse lay statement for psoriasis or psoriatic arthritis. That was part of the claim. I think
that I would use as failure to consider all favorable evidence in my case.
Yeah.
And relying on an inaccurate C&P exam because they didn't consider all of that.
Yeah, that's what I would go with too.
Yeah.
Nighthawk, filed in 2004, denied, and then awarded 20% in 2020. Acquired C-file and shows line of duty investigation confirming original filing. Is that a Q issue? Well, let's put it this way. If the line of duty investigation was not discussed or listed as evidence in 2004, you're not looking at Q. You're looking at basically an open claim all the way back to then under 38 CFR 3.156C, 38 CFR 3.156C, which basically says if they are bringing in service records now into this claim that they should have done in your original claim, but they were too lazy, then you're entitled to go all the way back. You do not want to file a Q claim if you don't have to. If you can say that claim should be reconsidered under that regulation I just gave you, that's the better way to do it, because you get to put in new evidence, you get to argue new law, and you get to show basically what you have now proves back then. If you go Q, you're stuck with the evidence in the file at the time and the law at the time. You do not want to do that. And the standard of proof is clear and unmistakable error, okay, versus as likely as not right now. So no Q. I think you got a way to go back though.
Right.
Kevin, denied TDIU, filed for a higher level review. Any advice on how to handle the higher level review person when I get a phone call? I'm 90% currently with bilateral eye disease. I would have in front of you whatever evidence you think you've submitted that proved your claim. I would hopefully have a copy of their C&P exam so that you can kind of tear it apart, saying, well, they didn't consider this, they didn't ask me this, or I told them this and I don't see that reflected anywhere. So those are the kind of things. The more evidence you have that was used, the better informed and the better your presentation can be. You got to realize they had nothing to do with your first claim, so you want to be kind and respectful. I tried not being kind and respectful a couple times in my career, and guess what? That got denied. Felt good for a second, but didn't get me where I needed to be. So you just kind of want to have the evidence you need in front of you. The conversation is going to go quickly, and you want to say, hey, did you consider this? Did you consider that? And go from there. Carol, any other thoughts?
No, you need to point, because they have a lot of work, they have a lot of paperwork, and they probably didn't note all this stuff. So if you point out everything favorable, that's going to give them a chance to reverse what was done before.
Vinny, I had a CMP for TDIU on Friday. What should I bring? Oh, I have one on Friday. TDIU for PTSD CMP exam on Friday. What should I bring besides the PTSD questionnaire to the exam? I always want a witness. I want my spouse, sibling, son, friend, somebody to go there with me. And even if they don't let them in, then I want them to take notes as far as how long that, they're sitting there. How long were you back there? What kind of, how did the doctor present when you saw them? Those kind of things. Carol has found a great way to get, especially your spouse in, and I'll let her have the glory on this.
You just tell them you're not going in without them, that they are your memory. you're going to mix up the dates, and that's why they're here, and you're not going in without them. Remember, the rule that they can exclude anyone is privacy for you. You can waive that privacy. And so you say, I waive the right to privacy in regard to my wife. She can come in with me, and just sit there and say, I'm not going in without them. And I have yet to have somebody call me and tell me they didn't do the exam.
Right. And I mean,
and now that we're here, can I bring up my
exam? Great, Benny. You brought it up. Here she goes. All right. This is the commercial brought to you by Carol Ponton, and it's her doozy of the week. Let's call it that way.
All right. Remember, it used to be that the VA did the CMP exams themselves. That stopped years ago. They hired 3 companies, LHI, VES, and QTC. Those companies are paid to do these exams. And so when they get an order to do them, they want to do them. If they don't have a doctor near you, they can find one 200 miles away and send you there. And they do. LHI, as you've heard me speak before, has been horrible to my clients. I think they're so horrible that for some reason they're now called Optum. They changed their name, but they haven't changed their tactics. So this week, honest to God, because I saw it in writing, they sent my client a notice for 2 exams. One was in Colorado Springs at 11, same date. And the second was in Burns, North Carolina at 11:30, same date. My client called them. They said they weren't going to change it and he would be denied if he didn't go. He calls me. He and his wife are in tears. They don't have the money to fly. They live in Colorado. They don't have the money to fly to North Carolina. I mean, this is ridiculous. They had been so upset about that. Please don't let these people do this to you. You call the VA 1-800-827-1000. Ask to speak to the CNP scheduling department. They're the ones that send these cases to the VA. Tell them exactly what's happened. I had another client, same day, he was sent 100 miles away for a blood test. Call them and say, I don't have any transportation. I have nowhere to get there. I can't go 100 miles. It's supposed to be near me. Would you please help me? They'll take down your information and then they'll take care of it. Now, they may not say, okay, you don't have to go or whatever. They will say, I will note this. And then you say, that's why you didn't go. That way, these people can't just send in failed to show up at the CMP exam. That protection, please don't let them do this to you.
Carol, I want to take that a step farther. VA actually has an internal police officer, if you will, and it's the Office of Inspector General. And what they do is they go all across the VA and they monitor and make sure the VA is doing what it's supposed to be doing as far as regulations. Now, this doesn't always pertain to us. They go across hospital, cemetery, other things, but sometimes they come out with reports that are of interest. Well, lo and behold, what they found is that the VA has a medical disability examination office. So basically that's what Carol was talking about. That's the hub office that sends the contracts out for you to get an exam wherever. Those examiners that they send you out to, if they are over 50 miles away for just a regular doctor visit, or just a GMP, general practitioner, they can only send you 50 miles, up to 50 miles away. If they send you over 50 miles, they have to have your express consent. So you have to consent saying, I will do this. Now, If it's a specialist, let's say it's an oncologist for cancer, they can send you over 100 miles, to 100 miles, excuse me. If they try to go over 100 miles, again, they have to get from you your express consent. So you have power in this game. If they're sending you to Burns, North Carolina, and you live in Colorado, you just call them up and say, you do not have my consent to schedule me there. And then I would always follow up with a letter, write them a letter saying, as I stated in our phone call, I live in Colorado. You're trying to send me across the country for some crazy exam. I'm not going. You do not have my consent. And so what the vendors are doing, the vendors, it's a money game. They want to send you to their people, and they don't care how far away they are. They just want to get you there, get the exam so they can get their money from the VA. And we're talking tens of millions of dollars for them. Okay. So they're in it to get the exam, and they're not going to follow these rules. Now, the VA has been admonished, the disability office has now been admonished and told they need to start following these rules. So as Carol said, you give them a call, and they know they're on the hot seat. Okay. So they're going to talk to the vendors and say, what are you doing? This is not the law. This is not the regulation. So I was excited to see this because it actually shows that the VA is looking at this thing, and now it's on their radar. Hopefully they will be more respectful to you when you call and get you an exam that's closer.
But don't get upset. Don't keep fighting with these people. When you see it's not going anywhere, you call the VA, because they're not going to change their minds. I have had a number of people denied. My client didn't let me know. They were trying to deal with they won't talk to us because it's supposed to be a privacy thing from the VA medical. But, when they told me about it, then if they tell me, that's when I say, please call the VA. If you call the VA, they can't deny you because you've already made your complaint. I can't get there. Okay. You don't know what these people are going to tell the VA. Normally they say the person failed to cooperate. They failed to show up. That's what they're telling them. They're not telling them that you called and said you couldn't get there. Not in one case have they done that. They've just said failure to come to the exam.
Yeah.
So protect yourself. I hear this all the time, and I'm telling you, you're sick. You have problems. You don't need to go through this mental agony that these people cause. Immediately say, okay, great, I'm going to call the VA. And if they don't do something there, hang up, call the VA.
But remember, you have rights in this. They can't just jerk you around and try to take you wherever just so they can make a buck. Okay.
Right.
All right. Carol's pedestal for the week. Coming down now. We'll go back to answering questions. So we go back up there if we get a question that gets her all hot again. Richard Dix filed for increase in rating for heart valve 2017, while the claim was open, had a pacemaker placed in 2018. Do I need to file another claim for the pacemaker, or would it be included as an open claim?
So if that's ongoing,
yeah,
he just needs to make sure they know that he had a pacemaker.
Yeah. I mean, if they knew you had a pacemaker in 2018, meaning like if you got this done in the VA medical facility, then they knew, and they should have considered it back then. If you had a private surgery done and they didn't know, then I think you need to go ahead and refile. But I don't. So
I can't tell, Matt, because I thought it was still open, and while the claim is opened, had a pacemaker.
Right.
I guess, but it sounds like it's over. So yeah, you would need to go back and say, ask for higher level review, or there was an error because you didn't consider that I had a heart valve put in or a pacemaker put in.
Austin C. My appeal is on the advanced direct docket. It was sent to a judge last week. You are my co-counsel. Thank you. How long will the decisions take once it reaches the judge or attorney advisor? It could be tomorrow. It could be next month. We don't know. But the fact that it's been advanced on the docket, I don't know, Carol, I usually see a 30-day turnaround on those. I mean, it's not typically too long.
I would say 3 months at the most. Yeah. There are some that are 3 months. There are some that are within the month, well within the month. But it varies. It's all over the place.
Okay, Nigel. Can comorbidities be considered secondary medical conditions? It just depends. There needs to be, you got to show a causal relationship there. So like diabetes and neuropathy, back disorder and radiculopathy, it just depends on what it is.
Right. Does it cause Does your service-connected condition cause something else? That's what you need to look at.
Kenny S. How can I get detailed information about protected work environment while using TDIU? I can earn income by trading financial instruments an hour or two a day, but that exceeds the poverty level income. So Kenny S., this is actually pretty interesting. We had an oral argument on what protected work environment means with the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims 2 weeks ago now. So we're going to hopefully hear what a definition is from them. But what I would say is if you are doing this yourself and not for someone else, I think that's a protected work environment because you set your own hours. You show up when you want, you work when you want. Nobody's telling you what to do or where to be. So I don't know that would. I think you would have a good argument there because I imagine if you look in the regular workforce of traders, they don't get that luxury. JB, I increased my rating from 40 to 80, lumbar sacral 20 to 40, radiculopathy 40, hypertension 0, UC 30. My PTSD exam went badly. She misunderstood and claimed my stressor was recovered memory and said she had disqualified my doctor's letter that said she's treating me for service-connected PTSD. Responding with new form enemy combatants that only requires evidence on location during U.S. With Marines should have that information. My obstructive sleep apnea is now severe and not sure how to connect. All right, so we got a lot going on here.
Can we get back a little, Nate, to see the whole question? Okay, back, hypertension. What's UC?
Ultracolitis, I imagine.
Okay, PTS. Okay, so I would try to say that my sleep apnea is service connected to my hypertension and or my PTSD as well. It could be from my back pain because I wake up all night long. I would have the VA examine you for all of those things. I would also definitely appeal that, that I had an inaccurate exam who didn't consider all the evidence. Here's the evidence they didn't consider. If it wasn't in the file before, you can't count on the Marine Corps having. If it wasn't in there, maybe you file a supplemental claim. If it was, then you file an HLR, a higher level review.
I would hope that the VA went out and actually got his service records for his C file. And so if the service records show that you were in a theater, combat theater, then yeah, you get that presumption that you were there and that there were enemy combatants around you. So if that's the case, then you can argue the higher level review and say, hey, look, I was there and the CMP examiner didn't consider it. Therefore, that's a duty to assist violation.
But you need to look in your file and make sure it's in there. Because a lot of times, for whatever reason, they don't pick up the military personnel. I don't know why. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But you want to make sure it's in there because the decisions we get don't address what we say. The decisions just say whatever they want to say. And if you've argued this, they may not say, hey, it's not in there. They may not let you know that. So you need to make sure that you've looked in the file, it's there, pointed out. You may want to copy and attach it to your higher level review. It's not there. It's a duty to assist. They need to go get that for you. And I would write to the National Archives as well to see if I could get it.
Yeah. John Johnson, my BSO didn't file my claim in time. Can I still file it after 1 year? If you are after 1 year, unfortunately, you got to file a new claim. I would use a different BSO. I don't understand why that happened, but a year's a year, and they basically say the BSO is, your advocate. So if he doesn't get it in, then you don't get it in, unfortunately.
I actually took that up to the court years ago and lost because they said it's your BSO,
Okay, Shimp Howard, out in 95, medical says excessive worry, anxiety. I was not treated in service or out, but can I claim that and will a CMP provide a diagnosis? So we're looking for a diagnosis of a mental health condition. Yes, you can claim that. I mean, that's something that happened in service. Looks like you haven't treated at all since then. You might consider starting to treat, but a CMP exam would have to give you some kind of diagnosis, or exclude all diagnoses and say why they did that.
Matt, I'm worried that they may not give him a CMP exam. I have a number of clients, the exact same scenario, and they say no current diagnosis, so I'm not sending him out. I find a lot of the raters now are trying to take shortcuts. Remember, I think it says if there's a reason from the record that a CMP exam is needed, then you can order one. So if he doesn't see a current diagnosis, then they're saying there's no reason to order one. So I think you really need to go, and you can go ahead and file, but I would definitely get in and get some treatment.
Yeah. And when you file, put a letter in describing your current symptoms. Okay. How this affects you, what's going on. If you have a spouse, loved one who sees you regularly, who could do the same, that would be great. But since you don't have a diagnosis, as Carol said, it's a bit of an uphill battle to start.
And remember, the way that it gets service connected is it's the same problem that you had in service that you have now. So you want to show the chronicity. I had this in service, it's continued, it's affected me all the way through in this manner, and I still have it.
Don Reddy, hi. Can I claim a back condition as secondary back to separation if I initially applied for it as a standalone condition, and then it should have been secondary? All right, so
yeah, you can file anything you want.
Yeah, you can file under multiple theories of law there. So that's, yes.
And that's exactly what I do if I've asked for service connection. Then later on I see, well, this guy had 2 service connected knees. They affected his back. I'm going to file for service connected secondary to that.
Andy Charles, facing appeals judge in 2 weeks with my BSU. Oh, who makes the presentation, him or me, since I have all the research responses? You want to be proactive, okay? Maybe your VSO understands some of the stuff, and maybe he's gonna be able to present some things, but it's your claim. I've seen good VSOs, and I've seen VSOs who just phone it in. You know, please, Your Honor, give us the benefit of the doubt. This is a good man. He served our country. Yada yada. That's all great. That's a stamp denial right there. Okay. So
right.
I would be prepared if I were you to present your evidence. Just think, what's the disability? What do you need to service connect it? What's the rating? Why do you think it's higher? Okay. So you can let your VSO talk, but you have a right to speak as well. And you can say, okay, you know, thanks for maybe he states some law that's great, but you need to be ready to present that evidence because nobody knows your claim as well as you.
And here's the problem. You have waited so long to talk to somebody, so long to go over this, that you just start talking, and they cut you off mentally. So what you want to do is you want to put issue number 1. What do you want out of that? How do you get that? If it's you're entitled to a higher rating, you want to tell him succinctly why you are entitled to. Here's the evidence for that. Number 2, this is what I think I deserve. This is why. Number 3, don't kill your claim by just going on and on and on. They just start writing maybe notes down for themselves about a party they're going to. You've got to make it brief. You've got to make it clear, and you've got to stop when you finished.
Amen.
Remember, the one way you can really hurt yourself is by them finding you not to be credible. That's the one finding you do not want. So if they find you're not credible, that really hurts your case from then on. So you don't want to go talking. Stick to the exact things that you can prove and that are clear. Okay. Sorry, Matt, were you going to say something?
No. Okay. Carlos, again, can the VA take away your unemployability? Yes, they can. John Price, are there any statistics on the percentage of Pact Act claims granted to not granted by condition or any other info on stats?
Not at this point, Matt. I think it's too new. They're just starting.
Yeah, they're still getting things going. I've got some stats that I would like to share. So Carol and I got to go see the VA present at NOVA, and this was the VBA, meaning the people who do the regional office stuff, not the Board of Veterans Appeals. The only thing they really said about the Pact Act is that they're hiring over 300 more employees this year, and hoping that will be able to decrease the caseload, if you will, to get that down and get that into a manageable position when it comes to the Pact Act. So let's see. And they had a couple other things that I thought were interesting in their presentation. They said that this year, claimants are, when they talk about appealing rating decisions, so rating decisions from a supplemental claim, are appealing about 12% of those. When they go to higher level and they're denied, they're appealing 9%. And then you got 5% are appealing to the board. So basically when people get a decision, they're saying this was wrong. They either file a supplemental claim, and 12% of people are doing that. 9% are doing a higher level, and 5% are doing an appeal to the board. The rest of the folks just aren't appealing. And then obviously the overwhelming lane that they're picking is the AMA. Excuse me, what is this lane? This is the supplemental receipt lane. Okay. But what they did show us is that the supplemental lane has gone down year over year, and the higher level review has gone up. And also the Board of Veterans Appeals has gone up. So appeals are going more to the higher level review, and then also to the Board of Veterans Appeals. The grant rate, interestingly enough, for higher level review, the grant rate for an appeal is 18%. For supplemental claims, meaning you filed a claim and then you file another claim within a year on that through a supplemental claim, there's a 46% rate of grants. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see. Carol and I don't necessarily see that playing out, but just something to think about. If you get a decision you disagree with, you look and see what are the favorable findings, and that lets you kind of deduce why it was denied. Go out and prove why it was denied, and it looks like there's a chance to get a pretty good chance of actually getting the decision, what you deserve there as far as the decision. All right, next one. Miguel, I have a law firm working on my case, but they do not answer my questions. I'm thinking of firing my lawyers. Communication is terrible. They file claims without notifying me. You need to be comfortable with whom is representing you. I would ask why they're filing claims and why they're not answering your questions. There are so many lapses of time. Time is in a different kind of universe with the VA. Okay, so it takes years, and so if a law firm is taking a long time, you got to realize there can go long periods without anything happening, and there's nothing to update you on. Unfortunately, we see that all the time. Our veterans get upset about that, and frankly, we're upset too. But there's nothing we can do to force the VA to move faster. So just realize they can only do so much. Filing claims without notifying you, I would, if we had a veteran with a back problem and we saw that they had radiculopathy, we would know that's due to the back problem. So we would want to file that right away. I agree that it should be communicated to you what's been filed and why. So that is something that I definitely would check up on if I were you.
Yeah, but I think sometimes that does happen. But when clients, had someone ask me the other day, how long do you usually have these clients? I said, usually until they die. And that's how long because unfortunately, most of the disabilities are progressive. So if I have a client who has Parkinson's, I know I'm going to have that client till he dies, because unfortunately, he's going to get worse, but hopefully I will be able to get him SMCs. I just got a client SMC-4 today. That's $10,350 a month. I'm sad that he needs that, but I'm glad he's going to get that. So and we have these clients for years and years and years. And when someone comes to me, the first thing I want to tell them is, I can't promise you that I will have your case done fast. There is no such thing with the VA, but I will get you everything I think you're entitled to, no matter how long it takes me. And, a lot of people are discouraged because they say, well, my friend just filed and he got whatever. Well, they do the brand new claims really well. But if they don't happen to give you what you want on that, you're in for a longer time. And you can either give up, or you can let me handle it, or you can have the patience to handle it yourself, because you can get those benefits, but that's their game. I get the benefits. You don't have anything. You're going to go away. I'm not going away. And I don't think you should either.
She's a bulldog. She has a beautiful smile, but those teeth clench on, and my God, you better watch out. And Carol, actually, let me just give you some more stats on this. They're saying the average days to completion for a supplemental claim was 122 days last year. And they're saying that last year to get a decision from the higher level review, it was 36 days. They're saying this year that's nearly doubled to 68 days. So just kind of letting you know where we're seeing the higher level reviews getting more backlogged. But that's so true. You know, there are these pre-claim filing companies like Vet Guardian out there that say they get their claims decided faster than attorneys. What they're not telling you is they're talking about an initial claim, and those go faster. And what else they're not telling you is they don't get it done any faster than the VA would process your claim. So those claims, you know, faster, we're talking 120 days. My math says that's 4 months. I don't really think that's fast, but that's their faster. Okay. And so if somebody's telling you they can do it faster than an attorney or faster than whoever else, we got to do apples to apples, because once you get into appeal, we're looking at about 24 months. Okay. And that's their timeline. That's their backlog.
You know, I remember, Matt, we were talking with Tom Murphy, who was the head of VA benefits for a number of years, who I thought was really good. And he was talking about the veterans needing a fast decision and how we can give them one. And after we looked at it, I think one of the things that we said is they want a fast decision, but they don't want a fast denial. They want a fast, accurate decision. And if you can't do that fast, then wait, because why do you want a fast denial? You want somebody to really look at your case. You want to put the evidence in, and you want, hopefully, to get the best result that you can. Fast is not a word you should look for with the VA. You should look for winning.
Yeah. All right. We only have time for a couple more questions, so we're going to go through and get 2 or 3 more here. That girl, Tam. Hi, does a note from a mental health therapist suffice as proof of continuity of care, or do we have to submit actual therapy note sessions? You want a note of a current diagnosis is what I would put in there.
And usually it says, I have been treating this patient from this date to now. This is the current diagnosis. So that gives you the continuity of care. No, you don't, because a lot of therapists do not want to put in their session notes, and the VA knows that. But like Matt said, you need a diagnosis, and you need to show how long these people have cared for you. And then they need to get into the nexus, if you're missing that, in other words, the service connection for the VA. And then they need to look at the rating decision. Have they commented on everything that would get you the highest rating possible?
All right. Louis C., good to see you. Help my friend go from 10 to 20 for his back. How do I connect other issues to this? He also had an aneurysm 20 years ago.
Well, the back, remember, you're looking at the back alone is usually, we said 40% is the most you can get, depending on how far you can bend forward. But they also have radiculopathy down each leg, pain, numbness. There could be, he's had to go to the bathroom much more than before. He could have depression because of the pain and the limitations that the back cause him. Aneurysm, you're looking for some neurological problem, some heart problems, some hypertension, something else that would be service connected that would cause that.
Yeah, I agree with Carol. There's plenty you can look for. I just don't know that that's the one that's going to be a winner.
The aneurysm? Yeah.
All right, let's take 2 more here. Ryan.
Oh, by the way, I was supposed to tell you to check like, please. Okay. Or something like that.
Got it wrong. Yeah. If you like it, I don't subscribe. I think this thing has it.
Oh, subscribe. Please check that.
Like and subscribe, I think. Nate keeps us in order here. All right. I just had an informal conference, higher level review, says Rye. There was a duty to assist there identified per the BSO. Is there a chance that they will make a decision or send to the reg office for a new exam? The chance is more the secondary part, that they'd send it for a new exam. That's kind of, they're more likely to remand your case for a new exam than they are to flat out grant it. And if that was the only evidence about your medical condition, that one C&P exam, they are not going to grant it. They're definitely going to send it back. All right, last question. What do we got? B, retire. Rated S, service connected, 23 years ago, 90% combined, of which PTSD 70, migraines 30. Kept me from working. I've not seen a doctor in 20 years. Can I claim TDIU? What about chronicity and continuity? Yes, you can claim TDIU, and you should. And you basically need to put in there why you think those things keep you from working. The fact that you're over 20 years, you got the, they can't take away these benefits from you. I would do that. I'd ask for if your migraines are so unpredictable that you don't know when you're going to get them, if you get them more than a couple times a month, that to me would say that in and of itself, your migraines might keep you from working, which you should apply for 50% for. But yes, it doesn't matter when you stopped working. They can't use that against you. All right, folks, thanks so much for joining us. Please submit your questions. We have the channel. If you go on our channel, there's a community button and you can submit questions there. Questions that get voted up, we will go into and try to make sure we answer the next week. But I know we only get to so many. And I just want to make sure that we're doing this. So if you go to the community tab on our homepage on YouTube, then we will look to make sure we get some of those questions answered. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great day.